Before a king had a crown, before a coin had a face, before a border had a line on a map, someone made a mark. Picture a cave at night. A hand enters the firelight, red with ochre. It presses against stone. When it lifts away, the hand is gone, but the shape remains. The children stare. The adults understand something we can only guess at. Perhaps the mark says, "We belong here." Perhaps it says, "This place is watched." Perhaps it calls the dead into the room. Whatever it meant, it did more than decorate a wall. It placed an invisible thing among living bodies. No wall has risen. No chain has been forged. No animal has changed its teeth. Still, people will move differently now. They will step closer, or step back. A stranger may become kin. A stone may become forbidden. A valley may become home because a story says the ancestors walked there first. The fire warms the body. The story commands it. This is the strangest human power, not merely to see the world, but to lay another world on top of it. For a long time, Homo sapiens was not obviously destined for anything. Bodies like ours already lived in Africa long before they transformed the planet. Their brains were large. Their hands were clever. Yet for tens of thousands of years, they did not build cities, cross oceans, or leave behind the sudden blaze of symbolic culture. Then, somewhere in the deep past, the tempo changed. Groups that had once failed to hold ground beyond Africa began spreading with astonishing force. Humans reached Europe and East Asia. They crossed open sea to Australia. New tools appeared with new needs, needles for cold, bows for distance, oil lamps for darkness. And in a cave in Germany, someone carved a body with a human form and a lion's head. The lion man matters because it is not just a clever object. It is a creature made of imagination. No one had seen such a being drinking at a river. No one had tracked its paw prints in mud. Yet the hand that carved it could bring it into shared attention. Others could give the unseen creature a place in common memory. That is the line. Not speech alone. Speech about what is not there. Language begins humbly enough. Water is over the hill. Fruit ripens after the rains. A lion moved through the grass this morning. Such words are life-saving. A warning can spare a child. A remembered path can feed a band. A lesson can pass from an old hand to a young one until the teacher is gone and the tool still carries the shape of the lesson. But warnings do not explain the human world. Many animals communicate danger. Bees can direct one another toward food. Monkeys can cry out against threats from above or below. The difference was not that humans made sound. The difference was that sound became supple enough to hold a world. It could tell not only where the lion was, but who had taken the risk, who had hidden from it, and who could be trusted when danger came again. That is why gossip is not a trivial thing at the beginning of history. In a small band, reputation is shelter. It tells people where trust can rest. It warns where envy is growing. It remembers a favor after the meat is eaten. It keeps justice alive before there are judges. Around a fire, gossip can hold a camp together. But it cannot hold an empire. A camp can know its faces. Beyond a certain size, the warmth of personal memory thins. The web of obligation becomes too large for any one mind to carry. If strangers were to cooperate without knowing each other, they needed something larger than gossip. They needed to believe the same invisible thing. A lion is real whether anyone believes in it. Stop believing in the lion, and the lion may still take your throat. A spirit is different. A border is different. So is a debt. So is a company. These things live by a stranger magic. They exist because people behave as if they exist. That does not make them weak. It makes them immense. A promise has no bones, yet it can bind two families. A law is ink until bodies kneel before it, enforce it, or die under it. The invisible becomes real by recruiting the visible. Hand sign. Feet march. Doors close. Fields are fenced. Children learn where they may stand. A private dream dies with the dreamer. A shared dream can outlive a dynasty. This is why fiction is the wrong insult for the thing humans invented. These stories are not weak because they begin in imagination. They become powerful when many imaginations lock together and start moving bodies through the world. To see the trick clearly, look at a company. Not the building. The building can burn. Not the workers. They can leave. Not the founder. The founder can die. Not the machinery. Not the logo. Not the signature at the bottom of a contract. Take all of those away, and something may still remain. A legal ghost. It can own property, owe money, stand in court, and survive in paperwork. It can survive the bodies that invented it. No single ape can do this. But a story can. The surrounding world agrees, for one practical moment after another, to treat the ghost as real. The cave mark and the corporate seal are not the same thing. But they are kin. Each says, behave differently here. Each asks the body to bow before something the hand cannot hold. Bone is slow. A species changes by inches across deep time. The skull, the hand, and the hunger of the brain all belong to evolution's long patience. Stories move faster. One generation can call a valley sacred. Another can sell it. One law can turn a neighbor into an outsider. One ritual can make a child heir to people he has never met. The body remains almost the same. The life becomes unrecognizable. This is where history begins to loosen itself from biology. Hunger still matters. Fear matters. Birth and death still hold the animal in their old hands. But above those ancient pressures rises another sky, rank, law, debt, and honor. Change the sky, and the same creature walks a different earth. This speed mattered. A group that could change its story could change its behavior without waiting for a new body. It could trade with strangers because both sides trusted a symbol. Shells could travel far from the sea. Obsidian could cross water. Hunters from separate bands could become one plan. The body had not become stronger. The shared story had become larger. It is tempting to call this a triumph. And in part, it is. Shared stories let strangers cooperate. They let memory outlive the oldest voice. They let trust travel beyond the small circle of kin. They allow a child to be protected by people who do not know her name. But every enchantment casts a shadow. The story that binds can also blind. It can say, these people are chosen, those people are vermin. This land is holy, therefore that village may burn. This uniform cleans the conscience. The invisible can shelter. It can also hunt. That is the bargain hidden inside the human gift. The same power that lets us build a court can build a cage. The same oath that protects a child can send a child to war. The same imagined line that creates a home can create an exile. Every mark says us. Every us throws a shadow called them. So the great human threshold was not simply speech. It was the hour when a sound in the mouth could become a command in the world. A spirit could become a law. A mark could become a boundary. A promise could become a debt. A story could become a people. And once enough people lived inside the same story, muscle was no longer the measure of power. The strongest things humans make are not always stone, steel, or code. Sometimes they are agreements so widely believed that no one notices they are agreements anymore. They become the air. They become the road. They become the reason a stranger opens a door, guards a border, forgives a debt, or dies beneath a flag. Before fields and granaries fixed human life in place, there were still small bands beneath wide skies, carrying few possessions and entire worlds in their heads. We often call that poverty. But perhaps poverty is not only the absence of things. Perhaps it is also the inability to imagine another way to live.